turn off my audio here. Come on. There it is. Well, hi. Welcome to Go for Lunch number 71. Can you believe it? And glad to see everybody that's here. We're going to talk today about the Apple Keynote, which finished about 11:15. It was really nice of them to give me 45 more minutes than I thought I had to put together this presentation for you, because I wasn't as rushed as I thought it would be. So I put together something that hopefully will be meaningful to you. I want to give you my take on the event and how it will relate to you. If you're new here, please type new in the comments. We are here from GoFor Technology, where we make your technology work for you. And I am Roger Harmon. I've been doing this since 1989 or longer. So been around the block a couple of times. So let's jump right in. So the title of this year's iPhone event was California Streaming. Now, we don't know exactly what that meant. They didn't really, in my mind, didn't answer that question, except the whole event was streamed, so maybe that's it. So they started out with a great video going all over California with musicians playing, solo musicians in lots of different locations, in the desert, in the mountains, in the city, and they were, of course, all playing together. But you only saw one at a time, and some excellent drone photography. And then Tim, the CEO of Apple, came out onto the stage at Apple Park and kicked it right off with the iPad. So there are now three lines of iPad now: the iPad Mini, the iPad, and the iPad Pro. And of course, there's a couple of versions in there. So let's see what is new about the iPad. So most of these features have been there. The Touch ID is still there up on the power switch on the top. Actually, no, it's right there. So that's going to be on another one. It has 2 times more storage if you want to pay for that. Continues to have smart keyboard accessory. It's using a faster chip, the A13 Bionic. Of course, it does have the same 10.2-inch Retina display. Has a better camera. It uses a USB-C power adapter, and it also has gigabit glass LTE if you want to get the cellular version, and all-day battery life. Usually an iPad is several days. So one nice feature that they added here is called Center Stage. Now, Center Stage means that when you're on a video call and you move the iPad camera digitally, doesn't physically move, but digitally, it follows you. And they can do this because of the high resolution of the camera. They can move digitally without physically moving. So if you're doing some kind of activity like teaching an exercise class, tell all your yoga instructors about this. It is a great feature. So that is, and of course it's going to come with new iPad OS 15. So, and the price is the same. So that's always good news. So it's really a good deal for an entry-level tablet at $329. They talked about Apple TV, their streaming service. However, that really didn't tie into the California streaming theme that I could tell, and just highlighted all the programs, including Ted Lasso, that's won a ton of awards, and announced all the upcoming programs that will be starting in the next months. I also heard recently that next year they're planning on adding a new program every week. So they are really doubling down on Apple TV. So this was what people were wondering about, and this is the new iPad mini. The iPad mini hasn't been updated in a couple of years, but it is updated now. So the reason we like it is because the bezel is smaller. The physical size is about the same, but the screen is bigger. So you can see here the narrower bezel. Here's the power switch up here on top that does the Touch ID. So that's where the Touch ID is. Again, that gave more screen real estate. And there you have a better picture of the Touch ID on the power switch. So another interesting feature is that it now uses a USB-C connector instead of a Lightning connector. So the iPad Pros have been using USB-C for a while, but I think the entry-level $329 iPad is still a Lightning connector, probably to keep the cost down, I guess. So here are the features of the new iPad mini. We start up here at the top left. You see it has an 8.3-inch liquid retina display, which means it's really high resolution, easy to read. These are the covers that you can get in different colors from Apple, and of course you'll get covers from other third-party companies. Here are the colors of what the iPad actually comes in. You have a space gray, kind of a pink, and I think this is called sapphire, kind of a light bluish, and silver. And it does work with the Apple Pencil. Of course, uses iPad OS 15, and it does have some nice stereo speakers. It's 40% faster with the CPU, and the graphics are 80% faster, and it features the latest version of Wi-Fi 6. And it has a 12 megapixel camera with a flash. And it is available optionally with cellular 5G. So that is nice. If you're traveling, you can get internet anywhere, you can get cellular service. Another nice feature of iOS 15 is Translate. So it used to be you had to use a external app like Google Translate, and now you can use the Apple app and it translates right there on the phone. So let me say hi to a few of you. Good morning, Bob. And let's see what Chris has to say. The newest video capabilities. Yep, we'll talk about that in a minute. And Phil and Phyllis are here. And Helen. And we'll get back to Chris's comments here a little bit later. So this is another feature here of the 12 megapixel camera. So now here's the reason you might want 5G on your iPad. They're saying that their 5G radio in an iPad, again, it's an optional, I think they're usually $130 extra, but 3.5 gigabits per second. Now, normally typical cable download speed might be 150 megabytes per second. So this is very, very fast. So that's one of the advantages of 5G, is that you can download data, which is good for movies, for videos and things like that. So you can get 5G now on all cellular iPads. And the iPad mini, you'll notice, is more expensive than the entry-level iPad, starting at $499 and going up as you add more memory. Next, Tim talked about the Apple Watch Series 7. Now, one of the big features of the Apple Watch Series 7 is it has a larger screen. So again, it's going to be easier to read, and we'll see some other features here. Everybody was worried whether their existing watch bands would fit their new watches, and they will. So the watch bands are the same. This is the product manager for the Apple Watch, and this just kind of gives you an idea of how they were using lots of different areas around California as their different presenters came to the screen. So it's the most durable Apple Watch ever. So because it has a larger screen, you can have more flexible watch faces, like this interesting one where the time is around the edge because there's kind of a bevel there. It's brighter indoors. Now, I'm not sure why they call it brighter indoors. I think you'd want it to be brighter outdoors, but anyway. So it continues to have a always on screen, so you don't have to move your hand or tap it. It's just there. Because of the larger keyboard, I'm sorry, because of the larger screen, excuse me, it's easier to type on a keyboard on the watch, and it will have the latest version of Watch OS version 8. So you can see here the features from the last watch are still there. The ECG and the blood oxygen sensor. So you can see here how they're taking advantage of the more real estate on the screen in these different watch faces. They've also added Pilates and Tai Chi workouts to the Apple Fitness, which we'll talk about here in a minute. They have introduced fast charging, which makes it easier to use your watch for sleep tracking, because you can charge the watch for an 8-hour run in 30 minutes. So that's good. And it still has the fall detection even during a workout. So, and they also emphasized that they had improved fall detection in several other situations of exercise. So those are the features of the Apple Watch. Now, the interesting thing is that the Apple Watch will not be available until later this fall. So there has been some rumors that they've been having some problems with the displays, the quality control on the displays. So that, and maybe the worldwide shortage on various electronic parts are affecting that. Next was Fitness Plus, and the big thing about Fitness Plus is now that they have added the feature Share Play to Fitness Plus, which means you can work out with a friend, and when you do that, you get accountability. So that's always good for an exercise program. Sometimes you don't feel like showing up, but because you told your friend you'd be there, then you do it. And again, here's the Pilates that they've added. They've also added more guided meditation. For all you ski buffs out there, they've added a exercise program that gets you ready for the slopes. And they also have a nice feature which was there, but it's called Time to Walk. So if you just want to walk for your exercise, they have some great celebrities that talk to you while you walk. So that's kind of a neat feature. So here's the Fitness Plus. They've continued to put in new routines, so they have fitness levels from basic to advanced. So you can start anywhere. You can start with chair exercises if you want, and you can then improve and go up to HIIT exercises and all sorts of things. So that is Fitness Plus. So it all is integrated with the Apple Watch. Next, iPhone 13, what a lot of us were looking forward to seeing. Here's another example of one of the diverse locations that they used during the presentation. So a lot of times you'll see this a couple times more, but what I enjoyed hearing her say was, we listen to our customers, and so on the iPhone 12 mini we have an hour and a half longer battery life. The amazing thing to me, having been around transistors, I remember when I was maybe in 6th grade, my mom got a transistor radio, and probably it had maybe, I don't know, half a dozen transistors in it, and it cost over $100. Now we have this computer, this phone. This handheld computer has 15 billion transistors in it. Blows my mind. So here are all the technical specifications, and basically this all boils down to the phone can be smarter, faster, and take better pictures because of all this technology. So another thing that they introduced was cinematic mode. So what cinematic mode is, when you see a motion picture, many times you will see the camera focused on a face, right? And then maybe the person turns and looks to somebody that's 5 feet away, and then the focus changes to that second person. Well, with this cinematic mode in the new iPhones, you can get that effect even after you take the picture. So that is pretty amazing. So they have a brighter retina display, the brighter screen. They have better sensor shift, image stabilization. They have a ultra-wide. This is on the iPhone, the entry-level iPhone, which has 2 cameras, a wide angle and a super wide angle, I think they call it. Another a good thing is the night mode has been improved on all the cameras. So, you know, many times you see your friends taking pictures in a restaurant, and you know there's lighting in the background, and you can hardly see the people's faces that are in the picture because the camera that they're using, the phone, can't do low light photography. So the night mode is the solution for that problem. So you should always make sure you got enough light on your subject, but this is going to help a lot. So these are cases here. They still have the MagSafe wireless charging feature, and it's still water resistant, again, the battery life. And then the colors here are kind of nice. They have 5 different colors. This is kind of a gold, a blue, a black or space gray, a silver, and they've added red. It used to be that the red came out later in the year, but now it's coming out with the phone. And so the iPhone 13 comes in a mini with a 5.4-inch screen, and the standard size is a 6.1-inch screen. So the camera, of course, is always better. Sensor shift is what they call the image stabilization. They have a true depth camera, which means this is the notch on the screen, which is 20% smaller, as if we cared. Someday it'll go away, maybe, and be hidden completely, but it's still here, but 20% smaller. And again, here's low light. You can shoot in 4K high definition resolution, which makes the shadows and the light portions of your picture balance out. So that's nice. So that's just kind of a recap. They still have the portrait lighting, and you can do slow-mo selfies. I'm sure you're all looking forward to that. So the iPhone 13 mini is going to start at $700, and the iPhone 13 is going to start at $800. So we move now to the iPhone 13 Pro. Here we are in front of the Apple campus, the spaceship campus, with JAWS telling us about the iPhone 13. Again, it has an hour and a half better battery life than last year's, and the Pro has 2.5 hours. So if you're looking for a reason to get the bigger phone, not only are they easier to read, but the batteries last longer. So there's a good reason right there. Speaking of batteries, here is a cutaway view of an iPhone 13 Pro, and this is the battery. So you can see the majority of the inside of the phone is taken up with the battery, and of course that's true on the iPad as well. So here are the main features of the iPhone Pro. The macro photography, I believe they said you could do macro photography down to 2 centimeters. And that is pretty close. So if you're into macro photography, then that's a nice feature. ProRes, as we talked about when we were talking about making pictures that you wanted to have printed and framed. That's part of getting the best quality picture at the beginning of the process. Here you see the difference between the iPhone Pro and the iPhone Pro Max. 6.1 inch screen as opposed to a 6.7 screen. So they're saying also the front glass is a ceramic shield. So it's much stronger, but I would still recommend putting a case on your iPhone. And ProMotion is another feature that helps your video. So here's the lens array. Now so you have what they call a wide-angle lens, a ultra-wide angle lens. I'm not sure which is which here. And now the telephoto lens is a 3 times telephoto instead of a 2 times telephoto. So that is a nice feature, and you can see the camera bump, which some people who don't have anything to write about on the internet criticize the bump, but if you want good photography, you got to have some depth there for the lenses until they figure out how to do it without a bump, but that's the way it works. So the iPhone Pro starts at $1,000 and the Pro Max starts at $1,100. Here's the whole lineup. So here are the phones that are going to be sold from here on out. So we still have the iPhone SE starting at $400. The iPhone 11 is still available at $500. The iPhone 12 starts at $600. iPhone 13, $700, and the iPhone Pro, $1,000. And those will be available on September 24th, and I believe you can order them today for delivery on September 24th, unless they're all sold out by now, which could be. So iOS 15 is coming on all of these phones, and it will be available on September 20th, so you could download it on your existing phone if it's new enough. So, okay. So, one of the things that we were expecting to be in this presentation were iPods 3. They were missing in action. And I found out after the presentation that iOS 15 is coming out on September 20th. So that was the Apple event. Thanks to Kurt for a couple of those screenshots. That helped me out. So that was kind of a quick review. And now let's see what you guys had to say. So let's look at Chris's comment here. So Chris, yeah, so if you're thinking about maybe an iPad will work instead of a laptop, maybe now's the time. And you're right, the entry-level $329 iPad looks really good. Using cellular on an iPad never made sense. If your phone could provide Wi-Fi as a hotspot, that's true. You're depending on what plan you have from the carrier now, not all plans allow you to do a hotspot on your phone, which means you can create a Wi-Fi hotspot with your phone, and then your iPad, and your MacBook, or even your any device could connect to that Wi-Fi. So how much better is Wi-Fi 6 than in the real world? Well, Wi-Fi 6 is still being brought out, but there's a lot of companies that are making Wi-Fi 6 modems for your home. So that's a good topic. Maybe we'll look into that on a future program. And Kurt added that, so we covered that. 20th of September will be the release date for iOS 15. And right, thanks Bob, confirming that. And Chris is saying new medical stuff. Yep, we were hoping that there was going to be diabetes, blood sugar testing, or maybe blood pressure, but apparently the last rumor I heard is that might come next year. So they really didn't add any health features, except for they refined the way the fall indicator works. So good, Chris. I'm glad you're enjoying the time to walk. So again, that's a feature where they have celebrities that tell stories and motivate you, I think, as you are walking with your watch and your Bluetooth headset. So, any other questions about the presentation today? I wanted to give you the presentation again, lasted about an hour and 15 minutes. It's available on Apple's website. It's available on YouTube. So if you want to watch the whole thing, there was some great video in there, especially the opening, and then they did a little bit more at the close, and then there was some videos in the middle that were very obviously very well done, because that's all that Apple does, is do things very well. So I encourage you to watch the replay at your leisure. Good morning, Susan. No, I do not recommend updating to iOS 15 on September 20th. Now, I have been running iOS 15, the public beta, right here on my transparent iPhone 6s Plus. You see, that's a feature that you probably didn't know about. And so far now, I haven't spent a lot of time on it. I need to do that, and I will do that now. But the normal wisdom in the Mac community is that you don't want to upgrade to a new operating system, whether it be iOS or Mac OS or iPad OS or Watch OS or TV OS, until it is version, say in this case 15.2. More conservative people would say 15.3. The people that want to live dangerously would either adopt it right away or do 15.1. So 15 .2 is kind of a sweet spot there. So I would wait until it's 15.2, and then what I do and what I recommend for you to do, or I'll let you know when I do it, the results of searching the internet and just looking for people that are having issues with the newest update, and then I will not update if there's some serious issues. So the beta program for iOS 15 has gone pretty well. I had one problem that I thought was still a problem this week, and it had been resolved. So they are fixing things, so I think it's pretty stable. So please remember to subscribe. I think we have 72 subscribers now. Our goal, our first goal, is to get up to 100, because when we do that, YouTube gives us a better URL, which makes it easier for you to find our YouTube page, where we keep every video that we do live is there on the YouTube channel for GoFor Technology, and we'll have a URL when we get to 100. So help us get to 100 by sharing the GoFor Gazette, which comes out every Monday morning about 7 o'clock, with your friends and neighbors that are using Apple products. So share it with them, encourage them to come and watch, and subscribe, either whether they watch it live or on the replay. So Susan says, okay, so yeah, yesterday's update, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Susan, was a security update. So you want to do your security updates right away. But that was still in iOS 14. And that was a vulnerability that, it's a big deal in one way, because it allows a hacker to take over your phone without any interaction from you. It's not a big deal because they're only going to do that with high-profile targets. So unless you're a head of state, a controversial journalist, or a spy, you probably don't have to worry about that. But it was good to do that security update. And Stanley says, yes, you can safely update to iOS 14.8. That's what I was just talking about, because that is a security update. And I did it last night, and I haven't seen any problems today. So that's a good question. I'm glad you guys asked that. Okay, well, thank you all for joining, and we will be back next week with another exciting topic to help make your technology work for you.